Is this an 80-column dual-pane file manager on the Commodore 64? Get out of here. For people who are complete freaks about file management like me, this will blow your mind. We're going to look at it together. Stick around.
Let's go into the MonroeWorld.
Well, with that kind of a lead in, we have a lot to do. Now, in the description down below, I'm going to give you a link to download a ready-to-go D64 image of all the tools you're going to see here today. Down here, we have a 1571. It is currently drive 0. Now, I know you're going to correct me in the comments and say, Shane, you could have just gone back there, flipped the dip switches, made it drive 9, and then you wouldn't have to worry about drive 8 being the internal drive and external drive being drive 8 and this being drive 9. It just works out better this way. So we're going to do a whole bunch of things with this particular tool. And the tool's name, by the way, is DraCopy, D-R-A-C-O-P-Y. So I'm going to give you that file, and you can see we have it right here. So this is called DraCopy, I don't even know how you pronounce it. The 80 here, it means that this version that I have on this disk includes an 80-column version for those that like to have that side-by-side versus a top-down look, and we're going to look at both of them. I've included some config files here for you that do nothing more than turn the REU off or on, as well as set your drive 9 onto your disk A internally, right? So if we were to take a look at these, you can take a look for yourself. All we're doing is making sure that drive A is enabled and that it's listed as drive 9. That's going to let this 1571 here be drive 8, and I don't have to go back and flip any switches. For a lot of you, you're not going to have a drive 9 option externally, which is why I'm keeping this as drive 8, and I'm showing you how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is load the settings for 9 on A, which now means my internal drive A is device 9. I have here a games disk we're going to look at. We're going to turn the REU, or the RAM expansion unit, on because there are some things that DraCopy, I don't even know how. This tool uses the REU for some things. It's not as great as you might think. I was hoping maybe it'd be a RAM disk, which would have been totally killer, but it's not. And I know what you're thinking. We can get on with this. Let's take a look at what's on the disk. So we have DCopy or DC64, DC6480. We have this EMD file, which is necessary to activate the REU. Then we have the REU version of DC64 and the REU version of DC6480. Now, if you had the REU off, for example, and you tried to run one of the versions here, right, where you're going to mount and run, if you tried to execute that, it would basically tell you, no can do, I can't find the REU, so no can do, right? So obviously, if you're going to use the REU, which the C64 Ultimate works great with, we might as well turn it on. All right, now here is the 40-column version. Again, we're going to mount and run. Now remember, this is running off drive 9, which is a D64 image in here, and then we have our real machine here, the 1571, which is the real drive 8, and you can see it's parsing the folder. And as you may have guessed, I've got my Maverick disk in here. So there is drive 8, which is the Maverick disk, drive 9, which is our internal D64 that I mounted on device A, and that, of course, shows all of our DraCopy files. Okay, so if you're at all familiar with dual-pane file managers, you're probably thinking to yourself, oh my God, there's a million and one things that I can do with this, and you're right. Over here, you see all of the different commands, right? So read the directory, change devices, view in hex, view in ASCII, copy, delete, do disk copies, change directory. Ah, yes, you can use CMD type directory structures to go in and out. We're not going to demonstrate that, but if you saw my my CMD HD video previously, you'll know what we're talking about here. Now you can use this to toggle windows, right? You can use your back arrow to toggle windows. So now we're in drive 8 is our source, and drive 9 is the destination. Again, If you're not using a dual pane file manager every day in your life is incomplete. So for example, if I wanted to take something small like this Maverick file, I hit space to, oh, look at that, it tags it, nice. I could tag a couple of files, and then you can hit F5 to copy. And it will copy from the source to the destination. Now, there's no REU usage in the file copying as I understand it. So it's going to go back and forth, and move the files. That's okay. Where you would really use something like the REU would be to do like a disk copy, which it does have, but I'm not going to recommend that you use it. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. All right, so you can see if we toggle to the second window, you can see the two files are actually here. I don't necessarily need them. I just wanted you to see that it happened. Now that copied files from drive 8, physical drive, over to 9, which is the D64 internally. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just delete those, don't need them. Now you'll notice that delete or certain operations use the shift version of the function key. So shift F5, which would be F6, is for your delete. Let's get rid of those and they go away. All right, perfect. What else can you do here, right? Copy, delete, change directories. Here's some sorting. This is kind of cool. You ever have one of those really big long disks and you just want to see everything in alphabetical order? Hit the S on any given window pane here and it will sort them. And you can see this one had a lot of dashes. When you want to get rid of the sort, hit S again and you go back to the regular view. Pretty neat, right? And of course you can do like an inverse select. So if you say, I want everything except for this one, then you could hit the star and it would just invert your selection. That's pretty cool too. Basic stuff that like every file manager should have, and it's actually in here. You can make a directory, you can do renames, you can relabel the disk, all this sort of stuff. You can execute a DOS wedge command from here, which is also pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, you can make an image. I haven't quite figured out why you would want to do this yet, but you can. So let's say on my virtual image, my drive 9, which is running a D64, I wanted to create, I don't know, a D64 image inside of that. Now I imagine this is useful for Commodore 64 users that are maybe using SDIECs or something like that, that you could actually make one of these. But you're probably thinking, okay, well, if you can make it, can you copy files into it? The answer appears to be no, which to me sort of makes me wonder why that's there, right? You see my drive 9, by the way, has no label. I could fix that with an L to relabel. And this could be disk name Shane, 01. There you go, perfect. Now you'll also notice that it says that this is a 1571, and we're on side 1. Do I know how to change sides? I don't. If you attempt to do a disk copy from here to here, it might throw an error for you. I haven't quite figured it out yet. Yes, there's a DOS command that you can throw. I believe it is, let's see. I believe it is U0 greater than M0. And that's supposed to turn this machine into a 1541, but it appears to ignore it. So even if you do change it, you reload the disk, it doesn't seem to come up. That's all really cool, right? I mean, there's a lot of good stuff you can do here. W lets you change the window size. So if you want to have more space put towards one than the other, so you can see this one better whilst you're copying or whatever. So what does the REU do then? What's the gimmick, son? What's it all about? It's pretty simple. It's a single file cache. So if I were to go up to this file, oops, let me go this way. If I were to go to this file copier, right? And oh, by the way, it doesn't say anything about the REU here. There's no room. If you hit the period, it will bring up this whole list of things. It'll say load to REU, save from REU. So Z and X. Plus you can see all the other stuff. You can pause it if you want. So I'm going to hit Z. That's going to file read that file into the REU. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, now I could go to the other drive and paste it from the REU. In theory, that might be faster with the write, and you're doing a sequential read versus doing read, write, read, write, write, read, read, write, read, write. You're doing a sequential copy in and a sequential copy out. I haven't done the math, but that's what happens. So we're using 24 of 16, 383, 16 megabytes, right? So whatever percentage that is. Then I could toggle down here to drive 9, which remember is my internal, and I will go ahead and hit X and write from the REU, and it's writing. And the operation is done. Now you could write it again. So this would be like if you want to copy it to multiple disks, copy it to this disk, copy it to this disk, copy it to this, little file copy party time, right? So you could do that, or you could even copy it back to the disk again. I'm not 100% sure why you'd want to do that unless you're trying to put a copy in multiple folders, but you can. You can definitely do that. You can write it back to the same folder or the same drive again. I mean, listen, it's a file manager. If you're not using a high quality file manager in your everyday life, once again, I beseech you to go and make your life complete. Directory Opus on the PC, obviously this DraCopy or DraCopy on the Commodore 64. Every device has one. If you happen to have like an Unraid box, or you're probably used to using Midnight Commander, this really is very freeing and an amazing type of workflow that can really get a lot of things done if you're spending a lot of time in files, in file management, which I do, like all day long. That's all I do is sit and do file management. So this is the 40-column REU version. Now I could go back here and I could run, I know you're dying to see the 80-column. I teased you. I did. Okay. Mountain Run. And there we go. I think that's impressive as hell. Like, I can literally do real file management here, right? If you could move these in between and move this one over and then give me mouse control, I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind. So otherwise, it's, of course, exactly the same as it was in the other mode. Just have a nice, clean view of all the columns. So again, this thing does a ton. If you take a look in here, you will see that there are many things that we didn't talk about. Oh, disk copying, it'll do it, but you're not going to want to. It's very, very slow. I would much rather say use an action replay cartridge, final cartridge, anything that's got a nice, fast disk copy. That's the way to go. Now, if all you're doing is using this machine to move files around D64 images, this is completely useless to you, right? Because the C64 has that all built in. If I wanted to copy this file, I could tag it, copy it, go back, go to another disk image. I could go to another disk image like this game's disk image, and I could go right in here and just paste it. There's no reason to file copy from internal D64 to D64, D60s. All of this stuff is being done internally. What this is great for is for those of you with real hardware that is going to be using it with the Commodore 64 Ultimate. You need real floppy drive access, right? This is king. This is like the greatest way I found to do it. I showed you how to do it with Maverick. There are other tools that do it, file copying. You can use Action Replay to do it, but this thing is just boss. I love it. So I'm gonna take this disk out, my Maverick disk. I'm gonna put this disk in. Back myself out. All right, so now that would be disk 8. So I'll go over to 8, hit F1 to bring it back in. There we go. So you can see I've got all these games on here. If I wanted to move one of these games over to my internal storage, I could do that. Simple file copy, right? Tag it and hit F5 to copy over, and you're good. So yeah, this is really, really cool. Again, in the description down below, I'm gonna give you my D64 that I've curated all these files onto. I'll also, it'll also include my config file changes. I would not accept anybody's config file changes without reviewing them first. So by all means, review the files with your text editors, do it right on the 64. You'll see everything's above board. Keep yourself safe out there. That's all I can say. Anyway, what do you think? Is this like the coolest thing you've seen all week or what? Because when somebody tipped me off to this, I'm like, I love dual pane file managers, people. Like, this is what I live on all day. Now I can do it on my Commodore 64. All right, that's gonna do it. Please, if you like what we're doing here, like, subscribe, hit the bell, hype the video, do all that good stuff. Leave comments. Do you wanna see more about this tool? Do you want me to show you some more of the inside guts of it? What do you want? I'm here to serve. I'm Shane R. Monroe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and we will see you next time.